Hello friends, let's understand the concept, but before that we need to analyze this sentence. So I'll begin with the first sentence. I paid the bill. So how will I analyze this? How will I divide this? I is a subject, paid is a verb, and the bill is a third part. Mainly we have to identify the verb and the part which comes before the verb, which is the subject. They are helping me. They, subject, are helping is verb, and me is the third part. She gave me a bag. She gave me a bag. Gave is a verb. He pushed me. Pushed is a verb. I knew the answer. Knew is the verb. My sister called me. Called is the verb. I scolded her. Scolded is the verb. Let's analyze these sentences too. She went. Went is the verb. I was crying. Crying is the verb. Was crying is the verb. I is the subject. He came home late. He came home late. Subject and verb. My father is sleeping. My father is subject, is sleeping is verb. They were dancing. They were dancing. Were dancing is verb. I walked slowly. I walked. Walked is verb. The birds are flying in the sky. The birds are flying. Are flying is the verb. Now let us understand the concept that we are going to study. Now before we understand this concept, I would like you to ask this question to each sentence. Now what is the question? What? By asking what or whom, you will get some answer. Now let's try. I paid what? I paid the bill. We get the answer. They are helping. They are helping whom? They are helping me. We get the answer. She gave what? A bag. She gave whom? Me. She gave me. So we get the answer here. He pushed me. He pushed whom? He pushed me. We get the answer. I knew what? I knew the answer. My sister called whom? My sister called me. We get the answer. I scolded her. I scolded whom? I scolded her. We get the answer. Now let's try these sentences. Ask whom or what, and let's see whether we get the answer. She went who? She went whom? We don't get the answer. She went what? We don't get the answer. I was crying. What? I was crying what? This is not meaningful. I was crying whom? Again, not making any sense. He came. Whom? Making no sense at all. He came what? No sense. My father is sleeping. Whom? My father is sleeping what? Giving no sense. They were dancing. Whom? They were dancing what? Making no sense. I walked. Whom? No answer. I walked what? No answer. The birds are flying. Whom? No answer. The birds are flying what? Giving no meaningful sense. So friends, here if we ask whom or what, we get some meaningful answer. That is the third part, this third part. By asking what or whom, we get this answer, and that is the third part, and that's called as object. This is an object. By asking what or whom, we get this answer, and if we get this answer, then it is an object. While as here we are asking whom or what, but we don't get the meaningful answer, the relevant answer. So this third part is not the object. Now here you will wonder, in these sentences, object is coming everywhere. It does mean that object is coming everywhere, but in these sentences, you will see that object is not coming. This is something else. We will study it later, right, in the next video. For the time being, you understand now this object is an important part. Now, why is this object coming? This object is coming because of this verb. So verb is an important keyword over here. Because of this verb, this object is coming. If you replace this object, if you replace this verb with any other verb which is from this list, then you will not get the object. So you will see that these verbs are different from these verbs. These verbs are followed by object, and these verbs are not followed by the object. So these verbs are different from these verbs. So these verbs which take objects are called as transitive verbs. This is transitive verb and this is intransitive verb. I will write transitive, transitive and intransitive. So you will then again ask, why to study this? Why to study intransitive verb and why to study transitive verb? So when we are using any transitive verb, it must be followed by an object. And if we are not any object, then it will become meaningless. So we must have an object. But here you will find that in this sentence, me and a bag. Me and a bag. So this is also an object, this is also an object. Here object 1, object 2. This gave requires two objects. Here help requires one object. Here pay requires one object. So there are some verbs which take one object. There are some verbs which take two objects. Again, if you are adding something between verb and an object, if you are adding here something between verb and object, then it will be wrong sentence. So try to understand verb follows the object immediately. And if it is not following immediately, and if we are adding something to that, then this will be wrong. So we must understand wherever we are using transitive verbs, they must be followed directly by the object. And if we are adding any extra part between verb and the object, then it will be incorrect sentence. We will discuss some examples of such type in some other video. So here you will find now this third part is not an object. Then what is it? I told you we will study in detail in the next video, but for the time being I will just tell you that this is not an object. So it could be an adverbial. So it could be an adverbial. So we will study adverbs or adverbial of different types in the next video. So I hope you understood the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. So we should know which verbs are transitive and which verbs are intransitive. Thank you.